Hey, what's up, guys? Spencer Rhodes here. So, we are 2 episodes into Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. Most people, including myself, believe that sooner or later in the 16-episode season, we will get what we usually get in every season of Fear the Walking Dead, which is a sad death or two or three. Or in Season three's case, there's like a bloodbath, so maybe 20. But usually there's at least one significant death, one sad death. Really, the only exception would be Season 2. Even though Chris died, Chris was pretty much the major death of the season, but it wasn't necessarily a sad death because he was pretty much the antagonist. He was pretty much the villain, and yeah, he was pretty much the only huge death in Season 2, and he was an antagonist, so you could pretty much argue that there were no sad deaths in Season 2. You know, Daniel Salazar was supposedly dead, so maybe that counts, but he wasn't really dead. But in Season 1, there's a few in Season 3, 4. So, more than likely, we're going to get at least one sad death in Season 5. And I say sad death because I mean, like, a sad death. So, it might not be Charlie, it might not be Luciana. Most people don't care about those two characters, so you know, usually when you're having a TV show like this, you want the deaths to be sad, tragic, because that's just kind of the way it is. That's kind of what makes the ratings spike up, a sad death. So yeah, I think there will be a sad death in this season. There's a decent roster of characters in this season. We got Morgan's entire group, plus we have Dwight, Daniel, Grace, maybe Troy Otto. So we have a decent roster of characters, and I guess there's enough room to kill off maybe one or two characters. Now, me personally, I would like to see no one die in the first half, no one die in the first 8 episodes. I just think it might be too soon. I mean, a lot of people are still recovering from the loss of Madison and Nick. The audience, we're still reeling from that. We're still really focused on that, and how much that sucked to lose those two huge characters. So maybe killing off someone in the first half of Season 5 is too early, too soon. You need to focus on developing these characters that are still alive, that are still left. Before killing them off properly, you need to develop them first. And I don't know if the first 8 episodes is enough time to do that. But they could do it. You know, they could kill off a character. They could kill off a character. I'd say maybe episode 6, 7, 8, and episode 8 would be a big one because that's the end of the first half. That's the big ending where there's usually some sort of resolution to the first 8 episodes, but there's also some sort of cliffhanger to the first 8 episodes. And then there's the 2-month gap that bridges the two halves before the next 8 episodes. So having a major character get a sad death at the end of the first half would be a good way to get the fans really talking for those 2 months, give them something to think about for those 2 months, and then they look forward to the next half because they want to see how the surviving characters move on and live on, and how they handle that sad casualty, or one or two sad casualties. And I think that we could be looking at a sad character death because we've got this whole radiation thing, this threat of the radiation of the plant that melted down, and how there's a bunch of radiated walkers, and you can't just kill walkers now. You have to kill them in a certain way. You can't get their gunk on you because you could get contaminated, get sick, get cancer, and die. Grace is already dying, but you know she's a new character, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, she can die, but I'm thinking of a character besides Grace. You know, someone else, maybe someone out of Morgan's group. It probably won't be Dwight because it's too early. It probably won't be Daniel Salazar because no. Probably someone out of Morgan's group, out of Morgan's group at the end of Season 4. We could be looking at one or two of those characters dying in the first half of the season. And the reason I'm talking about radiation and that threat is because I feel like now that they've introduced that threat, I feel like they have to utilize it. They have to use the radiation to kill off a character. They have to have a character die from the radiated walkers. Otherwise, it just seems like that whole thing was pointless. You've got this cool new threat to the characters, and to not have a single character die from that new threat, that just seems like too much of a waste of an opportunity. So, and I'm not necessarily saying that I want a character to die in the first half. But now that they've got this radiation and stuff, I don't know. I mean, they might want to give the fans something to talk about, especially during the 2-month gap. You know, who dies? You know, give the fans something to discuss, something to make the ratings go up. So there could be a sad death. Now, 2 characters that a lot of people expect to die soon are Sarah and Wendell. These are the 2 truck people that they were introduced in the last few episodes of season 4. And they're mostly just there for comic relief. They don't really seem too important. They're not really main characters. You know, I was surprised that they made it this far, honestly. And they're okay, but yeah, I think they could die. I think both of them could die. I think one of them could die. A lot of people think that they could die this season, and that maybe the whole point of their existence is to just be a couple of characters that are familiar enough that you spent just enough time with for them to die. I feel like they really just, the whole purpose of those 2 characters is just that they exist to die. So maybe they're 2 of the big deaths of season 5, or maybe they're 2 of the smaller deaths of season 5, and you know, maybe they're the deaths of the first half, and then someone like Strand dies in the back half of the season. Now, I don't necessarily know that Sarah and Wendell will die. I don't know. I don't hate them. I think they're okay. I like them. I think that, you know, they're good for comic relief. If they make it all the way to season 6, I'm not going to be all that offended or upset. I think the actors are doing good. I think the characters are okay, and I enjoy their dialogue. I enjoy their banter. I think that, you know, if utilized just right, they could be used really well to add some lightheartedness to some intense situations. If you have someone like Strand dying or someone like Charlie dying, it might make sense to keep Sarah and Wendell around so that you get some of their funny banter to sort of lighten the mood up and make the death more bittersweet, or make the episode more bittersweet, or whatever, something to that effect. And another reason why I don't think Sarah and Wendell are going to die in the first half is because they introduced Sarah, Wendell, and Jim all at the same time. So if you're going to introduce Sarah, Wendell, and Jim all at the same time, does that mean you're going to kill them off all around at the same time too? That just seems a little awkward. And it would be close together because Jim died in a penultimate episode of last season. So if Sarah and Wendell die in the first half, then they all just kind of die close together. And it just seems like, well, what's the point of introducing those characters in the first place if none of them make it very long? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think they will die in the first half. I think Sarah and Wendell are going to make it to the second half of the season. Now, I think it's a little more possible that they could die there. But as far as the first half goes, I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to live. I think they're going to survive that first 8 episodes. Honestly, the character I'm worried the most about is Strand, because I really feel like we're just 2 episodes in, and I really feel like they're sticking it on pretty thick that Strand's going to die. That they're foreshadowing it. They're making this big deal about Strand's past and how he's always looking out for himself, and he's trying to do the selfless thing and the right thing and the heroic thing. And they're building him up, and he's gotten a good amount of dialogue and screen time, so I think that they're building him up to die in the first half. He could be the big death in the first half. He could be the big death in episode 8. Sort of how Madison, even though it was a flashback, she was the big death of episode 8 of last year. That was the big event that they got the fans talking about it during the 2-month break. So maybe Strand's going to be the big death of episode 8. For that same reason, to get the fans talking during the 2 months. And Sarah and Wendell could be around just for funny moments, for some banter, and maybe they die in the second half of the season. But as far as the first half, as far as the first 8 episodes go, I'm going to have to say I think Sarah and Wendell are going to make it. I think they'll make it. I think they're going to live through the first 8 episodes. They've already lived through the first 2, so there's 6 left. I think they're safe. I think they're going to make it. But the second half, the back 8 episodes, is a different story. We could be looking at the deaths of Sarah or Wendell, or both, in the second half of Season 5. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't be shy. hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day, so please hit that subscribe button. Right now we are at 545 subscribers. My goal is to try to get to 600 in the next few months. So just remember, every subscriber counts, every bit of support matters, and is very, very appreciated. Hopefully we can get to that goal of 600. Anyway, with all that said, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye!